Good morning, John here. Have you ever been in that situation where you have met a friend for lunch or maybe coffee and she talks non-stop? You cannot get a word in edgeways. Cannot get a word in edgeways. Maybe she has problems at work and wants to vent her feelings, or maybe she has broken up with her boyfriend and wants a shoulder to cry on. But no matter what you do, you cannot get the opportunity to speak. She seems to continue talking without even pausing for breath. The best you can do is give the occasional just to let her know that you are listening and have not fallen asleep. So in this situation, you may well wish you were more of a speaker than a listener. Of course, some people say this is what friends are for, to listen to each other when they have problems. But listening to a monologue for 20 or 30 minutes can be emotionally and physically exhausting. Personally, I prefer to listen mostly rather than talk, because I like to learn about people and the stuff they are talking about. However, some people rarely have anything interesting to say, and they just talk about themselves in a very boring way. Some people do not seem to engage their brain before they engage their mouth. I have noticed that this tends to be a particular problem with older people, perhaps because they don't have many friends and don't have so much opportunity to talk. Most people love talking. We find it a kind of relaxing activity, or maybe more than that, we feel a strong necessity to express our feelings and thoughts to somebody else. And when you are deprived of this for lack of friends, when you do manage to find a listener, you won't let them go. I remember when I was quite young, I had a job as a financial salesman, and sometimes I used to go to visit people in their homes. Often they were retired, and I used to dread these meetings because I always knew it was going to take a very long time before I could get down to business, because these old people would want to tell me their whole life story first, and I would have to be extremely patient and listen to every detail, no matter how boring. So unfortunately, not everybody is worth listening to. I have met some interesting people who have amazing stories to tell or interesting points of view, but regrettably, these are quite rare. Consequently, I choose my interlocutors carefully. interlocutors. How do you choose who you are going to talk to? And are you willing to talk to strangers, people you don't know? I think many people emphasize the importance of listening because many people have a tendency to talk too much. And if you do not listen to the other person, what you're saying may not be so appropriate or beneficial to the conversation. If you want a conversation to be useful, then it is very important to listen carefully to the other person to make sure you understand and think about what they say before you express your own ideas. So in a situation where both parties are trying to understand each other in a fairly positive and non-conflictual way, listening is going to be very important. However, there are other situations, in politics for example, where the person who speaks the most may well gain power because they have the opportunity to force their interpretation upon the audience. Do you understand the word spin doctor? Spin doctor? This is a kind of publicist. Publicist. A person who will try to publicize a person or an organization, and their job is to try to show the person in the best light. For example, if it is a politician, they will try to make this politician look better than his opponents by interpreting events in such a way as to make him look good. They will try to turn something negative into something positive. For example, suppose the politician has an affair, as for example Bill Clinton did a long time ago. In the eyes of the public, this may make him look like a bad guy. But what the spin doctor will try to do is to reinterpret the information to try to make him look like a good guy. So one tactic they might use here, for example, is to have the politician make a public confession on TV, therefore making him look sincere and ready to accept the punishment of the public. Then people may feel sorry for him and think, oh, deep down he's really a good guy. If on the other hand he tried to deny the facts and said, no, I did not have an affair, but was later found out, then this would make him look like not only an adulterer, but also a liar. So when you listen to politicians debating, you will find that they are always talking over each other, each person trying to dominate the conversation with their point of view, trying to spin the information to support their political party and their policies. So if you're a politician, there's not much point in being a good listener. You want to be a good talker instead. So as you can see, there are different situations in which we should interpret the value of being a listener or a speaker. In the end, I still generally prefer to be a listener, but of course, as a teacher, I have to be a good speaker. Students don't want to walk into a classroom with the teacher sitting there waiting for the student to say something. They want the teacher to have a fantastic imagination and to be able to create stories and interesting ideas to stimulate the students' desire to talk and express themselves. Let's do an essay question now. The essay question is, in society we have to both speak and listen at different times in order to communicate. Do you think it is generally better to be a listener or a speaker? First paragraph, introduction. Talking with each other is one of the most fundamental human activities, and perhaps the one most responsible for our success or failure as a society. Communicating well and passing on information is crucial if society is to work in an efficient and harmonious way. Second paragraph, I'm going to support listening here. Generally speaking, I would support listening more than speaking because I think it is important to understand the other people. If you take more time to understand them, you are then more likely to be able to work with them and have relationships in a non-conflictual way. Non-conflictual. There will be greater understanding, and you will be more likely to achieve common goals and be happy together. For example, when I was young, I used to have a close friend, and we would argue incessantly. INCESSANTLY. We were both at university at the time, and he was studying politics and I was studying psychology. And with our immaturity and lack of experience, we often fought hard to show that our different points of view were correct. I remember we would argue about the silliest things, and we both thought that we were 100% correct. In retrospect, now I realize that I was far too confident in my viewpoints, and I would have been better just to spend more time listening to him and less time arguing. But alas, these are things it takes time to learn. At the tender age of 21 or 22, it is probably inevitable that you will go through this process of thinking you know everything, only later realizing you knew very little. Third paragraph, saying something in support of speaking. On the other hand, we do live in society, and if you do not speak, you will be treated like a doormat. Be treated like a doormat. DOORMAT. And people will walk all over you. You need to talk, and to talk clearly and fluently, to express your ideas and have an opinion. And if you do not do this, you will never feel confidence as a social being. I'm not suggesting you should be argumentative, but you need to develop the skills of coherent thinking and speaking. Coherent, COHERENT, to be able to both explain clearly to other people your thoughts and also to persuade them that your point of view is the correct one. This becomes especially important in your working life when you have to work with other people and the issues can be serious. Your success in your career and job satisfaction may depend quite significantly upon your ability to express yourself well in words. Last paragraph, conclusion. In conclusion, while I think listening is generally the more important skill, there is no doubt that sometimes speaking well is also vital. Speaking well is also vital. So when you look at your typical day, do you spend most of your time speaking or listening? I will leave this thought for you to contemplate. Bye-bye.